Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
You guys ready?
You ready?
Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the March 18th meeting of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. I have a quick prayer here for us today. Lord, we need to remember that you never close a door without opening a window. Remind us that even in the most devastating times, you are with us. Amen.
I'm not sure I can fit through a window.
Whose dog is it today?
I'm thinking Matt's.
Matt?
Oh, it's my God. Okay, we got this is a 4-year-old male terrier mix who wants to take me for a walk, right? This dog was found in Avon. Maybe got chased out by all the deer over there in Avon, like, since they kind of dominate the territory. But, and the kennel number on this one? 8, kennel number 8. So if you give us a call and hopefully we can find a home. Seems to be pretty well behaved. And what's the number over there? 326 5995. 326-5995. Okay. You got your 15 minutes of fame there, buddy. Well, oh, you're going to call him over. Thanks.
Madam Clerk?
Under Resolutions Number 1, Investments,
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Appropriations,
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Transfers,
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Advances and repayments,
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Requisitions,
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Travel,
So moved?
Second.
discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Bills,
So moved?
Second.
discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Mr. Cortez?
Thank you, Madam President. I do have a few personnel issues. I don't have my folder with me. I'm having more information put in it, but I know there's some hirings at Golden Acres. I want to update you on labor relations with regard to our collective bargaining agreement at 911. Also, I'm supposed to be in receipt of a fact-finding report, but I may have my dates confused, and I was out yesterday. And pending litigation, ongoing litigation, potential sale and purchase of real estate, et cetera, comes a weekly discussion. All of those topics are allowable under the Sunshine Act for executive session talk, so I would ask at the conclusion of our regular board meeting, we go into executive session and we discuss those issues that I've detailed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under Community Development, award contract to Airmore Heating and Cooling, North Ridgeville, in the amount of $7,150 for Herman Wren at 3748 Albany Avenue, Sheffield Township, to receive a grant assistance from the CHIP Program Year 14 home repair activity, which includes a contingency for any unforeseen change orders for furnace, water heater, and gas line replacements. 28 bids were requested, only one received and will be paid from the home repair account.
Once again, I want to, as we did a week or two ago, point out that this is an emergency home repair, and under our specific guidance that we have in our regulations, we're allowed to do this if it's an emergency. I believe we sought enough proposals. We didn't get a lot more. I wish we had, but I don't think that this person can wait around any longer to get this work done.
Okay. It's surprising.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Surprising that out of 28 bids that we requested, we only got one.
Yeah, I guess I was curious if we run into this in the past.
We have.
Is it too small of a project or what?
A lot of times it's too small of a project, and then the requirements that they have to abide by to work under this program sometimes make it challenging for them. We did, for a long time, we were requiring prevailing wage in these projects, and people indicated they weren't bidding because of that process, and we shifted that around. The state gave us a bit of a problem on that too, but that really hasn't caused a huge increase in the people coming out for these smaller jobs. I just think that they're not interested in the smaller pieces.
Yeah, it just seems like everybody's looking for work and to at least keep the cash flow going. You would think more people would be responding and attempting to win these bids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why we put down the number that were
Right.
sent out to bid.
So moved.
Second.
Anything further? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under Board of Elections, advertise for bids for the Board of Elections parking lot repair project. Notice being in the Journal on March 23rd and 30th and open at 2 p.m. on April 14th.
Before we make a move on this, Mr. Cortez, I spoke to you today about how we're doing this through all the bidding process and stuff.
Yes.
I know you were out yesterday. If the board would like to pull us for another week just so we can relook at those things.
I think we need to.
We didn't have a chance to follow up yesterday.
And I should have actually pulled this off the agenda. You know, I want to relook at our bid package and move around a few things in there. So I think we can do a better job with that.
Okay, thank you.
We'll just pull that then, thanks.
Under Domestic Relations, advertise for bids for juvenile detention home front entrance repair. Notice being in the Chronicle on March 30th and April 6th and open at 2 p.m. on April 23rd.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the engineer, participate in ODOT road salt agreement for the 2015-2016 season.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms.
Yeah, I
Kowski?
have a question. Bob, while you're here, we have any clue where salt prices are going to go for next year? Have they had any early numbers? I know that was an issue this year. I know City of Lorain went to some brine compounds. We had the cinders out in the unincorporated areas.
No, we had actually with the ODOT had a conference call that they hosted last week. They're doing the same process as last year. They're having a summer fill you can participate in, and then the winter fill. The only thing they're doing a little bit different is the resolution before you, they're not asking for a tonnage. They're just asking for permission for us to put that together. But in the conference call, they didn't. Same thing. They're trying to shop and get these bids out earlier this year to get better prices, but they really didn't have any indication where the prices are going to be at.
Okay, thank you. That was a major issue for a lot of our communities this year.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Advertise bids for the Island Road Resurfacing Project, Eden Township. Notice to be in the Chronicle on March 20th and 27th and open at 2 p.m. on April 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Advertise bids for guardrails Phase 6. Notice to be in the Journal on March 29th and 27th and open at 2:30 on April 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Authorize appropriation of the road right-of-way pursuant to Section 163.05 of the Ohio Revised Code, finding of necessity and take possession and enter upon property pursuant to Section 163.06 for Center Street widening, parcel 13 Della M. and David L. Lyer at 409 North Center Street, LaGrange, parcel 15 David and Diane Clement at 413 North Center Street, LaGrange, and parcel 19 Della M. and David L. Lyler at 417 Center Street, LaGrange.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the Sheriff, approve a month-to-month agreement with Earmark Correctional Services, Inc. to provide food service at Lorain County Jail until the execution of the proposal that was accepted on January 28, 2015 by Resolution 1565 to be paid out of the Contract Services account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez?
Commissioners, I have one quick issue because I don't want this to sit. I would have gotten it on the agenda yesterday. Job and Family Services wants to advertise for our summer youth program under the TANF. I really don't want to delay that another week. I want to get the notices out there. We do this each year. I'll pass the resolution to the clerk. It's a great program. The sooner we get that in the paper and get the proposals, because it's a pretty short turnaround time, the sooner we can get some of these youth into work experience and begin to encourage them towards a brighter future this summer. I should say spring and summer, because it goes through both and into early fall.
I have a question, Jim, in regards to this, since we're doing that. What participation would that be? I saw something in the paper this morning. Lorain County Urban League is looking at reopening the Charleston Coffee House in downtown Lorain for youth training.
You know,
Is that
the
offshoot or separate funding? Do you
I've met
aware?
with the Frank Whitfield a few times. Got a lot of energy. I really like the young fella, and I think he's going to go a long way. They had some summer youth dollars that they received from a national grant from the National Urban League, and they may be looking at some of those dollars to use there. And we're also talking about a collaborative with the Urban League, something we talked about in a number of years. There was some challenges with that a while back with completion of programming, as you may recall from several years ago, because their funding is going to diminish significantly, I think, by the end of this fiscal year, which is sometime in the summer. So they're going to be losing quite a bit of money towards their youth counselors. So we're looking at the WIOA dollars that we're going to get. We're also looking at that we have to serve 70% out-of-school youth now, by 70% in school. So we have to really look at how we're doing our business and develop a new business model so that we're able to deplete those dollars that are brought to this community successfully. And that's depleting dollars in this in this funding pool is completely necessary. So we may be working closely with them. I don't know exactly about the Charleston Center, but it could be that they're doing work experience with the youth there.
It said with youth, and I didn't know if that was going to be part of our program.
It may be if he comes forward with something and it looks like it can fit under the umbrella of programming that we can do. Remember, when we say youth, it goes up to 24 now.
16 to 24, correct.
I don't know about you, but you know, I went in the military right around my 18th birthday, and I was a man. So I have a struggle with this all the way to 24 and how we classify these things. But I also think they raised it now, the age. This is the second time they raised the age under the program. I think it's because they keep shifting the funding pools and putting more burden on different funding pools by expanding the eligibility. They don't expand the dollars, they expand the eligibility, so we have to do more with fewer dollars. It's just that smoke and mirrors thing going on.
Well, thank you.
So we're going to advertise RFPs for TANF Summer Youth Employment Program for Job and Family Services in the Journal on March 23rd and 30th, and open at 2 p.m. on April 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo?
Aye.
Is that it?
Yes, that'll be it. I understand we got a very need for a quick morning. Thank you.
Mr. Innes?
Commissioners, I would just like to extend my apologies to the commissioners for what happened with regarding to the meeting with the judges. You know, I'm your open meetings counsel, but because of the problem we're having with conflicts and that sort of thing, and I'm supposed to stay out of it, I really wasn't hands-on with regard to that letter. What happened is the letter is a boilerplate lawyer letter that has a lot of language in there that is typically and routinely in settlement letters, and I actually should have caught that and taken that out. But like I said, because I've been trying to watch my involvement, I didn't do that. I clearly expressed that to Mr. Dickin in our conversation, that it was on me and that the commissioners were not responsible at all for the content of that letter. And for some reason that didn't make its way into print. But
Tough to find good reporters, Jerry, it really is.
But yeah, it certainly wasn't the intent of the commissioners to hide all those things. And yeah, again, it's one of those things that resulted from this very awkward situation we're in, and I apologize to the commissioners for that.
Thinking through that, should it have been called a mediation session, since mediation is usually kept confidential?
Right. And
Instead of an administrative session?
because
or
we were
executive
trying to do it
session?
without lawyers, it you know, there was a gap there between me, your open meetings lawyer, and your regular counsel.
Right.
And so I don't think the commissioners, if you even glanced at that letter, probably in passing.
The problem for explanation is that sometimes when you're in mediation, because you're trying to resolve, you may push the envelope. And if you don't reach resolution, the last thing you want to have is something show up in a court document where you said, or you agreed to this before, because that'll happen if you don't have ground rules with regard to the mediation session and the use after the mediation session. If you go into mediation and there's either side's not bought, I think it's going to have a chilling effect on constructive, deep dialogue that may resolve the issue. We could always have the attorneys present and still have the same ground rules. We were just trying to save some money.
Right.
And again, I just want to say, it went out in typical lawyer boilerplate language as opposed to the commissioners saying, we want this in there, we want this in there, we want this in there. I don't think the commissioners had much of all input into what went into that letter.
You know, Madam President, since legal counsel brought this issue up, I was actually going to bring it up during my report. Yeah, administrative session, I think, was a poor choice of words. You know, shouldn't have been used, but was used nonetheless. You know, I'm the new commissioner here. I'm not familiar with what the culture has been in the past. Quite frankly, I'd like to see the term administrative session never used again and become a thing of the past. Either something qualifies for executive session or doesn't qualify for executive session. But with that said, you know, I think our intentions were to simply try to resolve matters, which I know the commission has done long before I got here. I know it's been frustrating for my colleagues who are you know, still here and have gone through those discussions. What I would suggest today is that and I'm not looking for an immediate answer from my colleagues, but hopefully they'll consider this. I think the time has come where let's simply send a letter to the judges saying to the judges, let's have a public, frank conversation. Let's have it in this commission chamber. Anybody from the public who wants to attend can be here. We can tape it, put it on cable. You can make your argument regarding what works and what doesn't work with what we've proposed. We can make our argument. The public, the media can all have a chance to evaluate that, judge it, determine whether they think we're making a valid argument or our argument lacks some validity. And my concern is that when we get to the part of the conversation regarding security, which I know has always been a sensitive issue for the judges, that certainly at that point, and legal counsel could let me know, at that point I would think it would qualify for executive session. I think we all know wisely we're not going to discuss the most intimate details of security that would pose a security threat going forward. But if the judges feel that that's an issue that's keeping them from coming into a public forum, I would say to them that we want to have this discussion. Let's have a public discussion. Let's have a frank discussion. And when we get to the security phase where you're uncomfortable, you have to tell us when we've started to cross that bridge. And then I think that would qualify for us then going into executive session, having that security discussion, and then coming back out and resuming the public discussion. But this legal feud needs to end. As I told the paper the other day, I genuinely like each one of the judges. I think we get along very well. I respect them, and I think that a meeting of the minds can get this resolved without the attorneys involved, or at least without additional legal cost. Now, for those who've been down this road before, they may think I'm pie in the sky on this, but I still think the judges are a good group of people over there. Reasonable people you could have lunch or coffee with any day of the week. I think for the members of the public who haven't met them, I think you would genuinely like them. So I think that we can have a civil conversation, an open conversation, and I would just ask today that my colleagues give consideration to having the administrator send a letter to the judges saying we'd like to have that discussion and see what kind of response we receive at that time.
Gary, was that the end of your report?
Yes.
Commissioners report.
Okay. I stepped out of the meeting last week a little early, so I didn't give the report. And the only thing that I wanted to bring up was the fact that I attended the Lorain County Health District's annual meeting. Being president, I get to attend all these things again. So they had a really nice turnout for that. Actually, Mr. Cortez and I attended the Lorain County Community College Vision 2.0 last week, and a couple of things that they were looking at is their focus, their mission, their values, their vision. Why does Lorain County Community College matter to this community? Why is it important that the college exists? The core values engaged all of us in questions and come up with different suggestions. It's kind of like a refresh. What was it called before the first time they did it?
Well, it was Vision 2.0. This
It
is
was
Vision
Vision
2.0 refresh.
Refresh, okay, so it was Vision 2.0,
Refresh.
which I did not, I was
Leave it
not.
to the college, right?
What's that?
Well, Matt and I were joking about marketing.
New branding.
Oh,
New branding.
Well, I was not part of the Vision 2.0 the last time, so it's kind of new to me, and I'm enjoying the discussions that we're having on that.
It's a lot of fun at the tables, and with the
is.
folks, the different variety of people. I've done a couple visionings out there over the last 2 decades, and it's always an enjoyable experience.
Then Wednesday, Commissioner Kalo had NOAC over at the Transportation Center. We had a nice turnout for that. I wasn't able to stay for the whole thing, but from what I heard, it was very educational. And let's see, yesterday we had another meeting with NOAC about Hawk Road, and we had a lot of good discussion about that. And I think we're going to have some more discussions in the future once we decide what direction we're going to go with Hawk Road sewer. So I believe that's the end of my report.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the municipalities who showed up with their staff in regards to learning exactly how the process works for accessing NOACA funds, which are in excess of $50 million every year. Also, NOACA, again, on Friday, we had our governing board meeting. NOACA received $1.7 million in additional funds for being highest performing metropolitan planning organization in the state. People who didn't expend all their dollars came back to NOACA. It's a nice little shot in the arm. We're doing real big projects, but it looks like we'll be able to get a few projects off the ground that need to be done. Probably some streetscapes. There's been discussions about maybe redoing the rapid from the airport to downtown Cleveland, cleaning it up a little bit in anticipation of the RNC coming to town next year. I spoke to some of our officials here in Lorain County, projects that are planning ready to go, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, so it can get divvied up, but nice little extra. Also Monday, I serve on the United Way Emergency Food and Shelter Board, our utilities committee. Finally got our funding awarded, which means it kicks off now when it should have been done back in October, but like everything else, the dollars just don't seem to get where they're supposed to be. So Oberlin Community Services are getting awarded $14,331. Salvation Army Elyria, $6,240. Salvation Army Lorain, $3,750. Catholic Charities, $5,209. And a new recipient this year, Salvation Army Vermilion's getting $1,500 towards utilities help for emergencies. Congratulations, Lorain High Titans, 25-0. Tonight they play in Akron. Looking for them to do very well against St. Ed's and continue on. So good luck, Titans. End of my report.
Okay. And if the game gets contentious, try not to get thrown out, right? Just wanted to say thank you to my colleague Ted Kalo here for putting together the meeting with NOACA and community leaders so we could figure out what resources are available there. And, we continue to hold the benchmark kind of high, so we're expecting to get all those dollars from NOACA, since you're president, back in the area. I don't want to put any pressure on you.
Right.
Not a problem.
Sunday was the Voices of Democracy at the VFW, so congratulations to all the students. You know, public speaking is, I think, clearly indicates or indicated that that's something that most people struggle with. So it's always quite a challenge when you have to get up and speak in front of people, and for some even more of a challenge when you actually have to write what you're going to be presenting. So the students did just an amazing job with that, and congratulations to all of them. We were supposed to do that event back in February, then we had the extremely cold day and the VFW was closed. So I want to thank my colleagues for working with collectively so that we can put together some nice accommodations for the students, and they very much appreciated that recognition. Today we'll be attending the mayor's stated city addresses for Avon Lake, Sheffield Village, and Sheffield Lake over at Tom's Country Place, and also planning on attending the Urban League Diversity Forum at the Community College on Friday. So looking forward to that. That concludes my report.
Madam President, just one thing. This morning I got an email from former Commissioner Blair, and I've also heard this from a couple other people. For some reason, there's another handsome devil running around Cleveland that looks just like me that was at the parade yesterday and was on the news. Now, because I was out yesterday, I was at Cleveland Clinic all day on sick leave. I don't want anybody thinking that that person who was on that news report was me.
New medical regimen, green beer?
I just, because, I was out on a sick day, and the last thing I want is people thinking I was downtown reveling. I don't know who that good-looking guy is, but I hope to meet him someday, but it wasn't me.
So you have a twin brother, too.
I do, somewhere, obviously, because even Commissioner Blair sent me an email saying how well I looked on the news. So that would be exciting after I put in my leave request.
Right.
Commissioner sent a proclamation of Friendship Baptist Church celebrating 75 years. That'll be on March 22nd. Board correspondence?
I move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo?
Aye.
Public comment?
David, how you doing, sir?
David Ashenhurst, Oberlin. Just a couple of things. I've been out. I haven't missed this meeting the last couple of times, and even the agenda, I guess, last time. But I want to thank Commissioner Lundy again for the Transportation Forum, which I was able to attend and was really excellent. And it sounds like the first one was excellent too, and I missed that one because of the weather. But I will be. So
you understand, strong support of all of us up here. My colleagues have been down this road and been beaten up pretty good in the past, trying to move forward public transit, and so it's my turn to get beat up now, I guess. But we're going to continue to work collectively and and support the initiative. I know the community's really excited about it.
Well, I think also the information we got about, excuse me, Ohio's relative state investment in public transit, where it's $57.17 average per capita in Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Michigan, and ours is something like 80 cents, which puts us between South Dakota and Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider our state's non-investment in transportation.
Well, that's about what it is. It's and I guess I hope that it really is brought to bear on the state, which is where it should be for that. That there's just no way we can, work with our dollars and federal dollars and nothing from the state, or virtually nothing.
How long have I been saying that?
Long time.
And by the
But
way,
we had.
this is something that goes over all administrations. It's been a long-term trend. So just for the record, it's not a partisan polarization here. This has been the state of Ohio's look for more decades than they care to admit, through multiple administrations.
Well, I beg to differ. It's a little partisan, at least at this point. And the fact that we have not just the ranking, but the chairs of both the House and Senate committees, and they both are Republicans, but I said to Representative Boots when he was here, I think he and Senator Manning should write an op-ed piece. I think it would run in every newspaper in the state. If we have both, they both represent this county, I think that's pretty unusual for one. I mean, when Representative Booth says, well, I'm only one of 99, well, he's the chair of something. And he's one of 2 chairs, and the other chair is in this county. So I hope that can be moved forward and continue to move forward. And it goes back to what I said when Commissioner Lundy first was sworn in, that the fact that we do have a commissioner who really knows the legislative process, I hope the County Commissioners Association uses that to their advantage. The other thing I wanted to say, excuse me, I don't see it on the board correspondence this week, so it may have been in last week, but there are a couple of meetings next week, the 26th and 27th. One is a group called the Mayor's Council for Pipeline Safety, which is headed by the mayor of San Bruno, California, which had the pipeline explosion that leveled homes and I guess killed people. That is a meeting for public officials, and I believe that's the evening of March 26th down at JVS. And then there is a public meeting on pipeline issues on the 27th in Oberlin at the public library, I believe. And I'll make sure, if that wasn't on the correspondence last week, that the League of Women Voters Oberlin area is one of the co-sponsors of these 2 events, and you would certainly be welcome to attend. I know there are separate invitations going to public officials and things like that, but I wanted to make sure that that got on here, even though I don't see it on the board correspondence. So please look for that, and as I say, we'll get it to you again if you don't have it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I move that we go into executive session as outlined by the county administrator. And Jerry didn't have anything?
No, I didn't.
No, okay.
Second.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.